It was sideways, but it was good fun. I don't think it was very good, but I'll give it another go now. My hot tyres are certainly warmed up. Hi guys, Alex Peak Performance Reviews. Welcome to another vlog and welcome to another car review. Today I have got the new Cayman 718 Porsche GT4 Gen 2, all new. If you haven't seen my previous first gen GT4 video, I'll ping it up on the top right hand corner for you now. But obviously if not, and you just want to see this new current gen one, stay with me now. But I'm going to go through a few fundamental things on this car without going into too much detail, because I'm going to do that on the test drive. But the main fundamental differences are kind of like a facelift, as well as some engine changes as well. Prior model used to be around 400 brake horsepower on the nose. It's now 420 PS, circa 420 horsepower, 418 in UK change. But basically, fundamentally, it's gone from 3.8 litre to 4 litre now, flat six, and still NA, which is beautiful, glorious soundtrack, and one that promises to be absolutely superb. But I'm going to let you know about what I think of this car. But I've got this car for quite a while today, which is good, so I'm going to be able to enjoy it and exploit it on all these amazing UK bumpy roads, and try and find some nice roads as well, so we can really push it, turn the traction control off, and see exactly how this car can be in daily use and also in extreme fast road situations. My kind of thoughts are it's going to be amazing. The previous gen one was good, and just a little bit of a synopsis of it, as I've driven it for a little while, and it basically is an amped up version of the Gen 1, and this promises, like I say, to be absolutely amazing. I'm going to take you around the car as well, just really quickly, but I'm obviously going to talk you through this. This one comes with options. They're now circa 81,700 RRP, so recommended retail price. This one, probably with options, is more nearer to 90, but you can put just a few choice options on and keep it around 82, kind of 83 UK pounds range. So it's not that bad, and if you drive this thing and you understand how good it is, normally quite an appreciating asset, even though they're not limited run anymore. But absolutely amazing. We've got this one today in frozen berry. Big thanks go out to Porsche GB. But yeah, let me take you around the fundamentals of the car first and foremost. Well, these alloys come shroud, these 20-inch alloys, come shroud in a Michelin Pilot Cup 2 Sport. They are like an N1 specs. They're spec to this car, so special compound, special profile and different tread parts. 20-inch alloys, and you can get them in this silver. You can get them in a kind of matte black or a black, and also a gold as well, so it's your kind of option. The car has a lot of function aero, a lot of real vents that are everywhere, here, there and everywhere. And of course the GT model cars come with this little smiley face in the front grille, so this is kind of what you when you know it's a GT car and a pretty special car. Going on to the brakes, this one has optional carbon ceramics. They are kind of circa £6,000 to £8,000, I believe, as an upgrade. They are fantastic, normally more for road use, for track use, should I say. And I would say the steel is going to be plenty decent enough, beyond decent enough, for your UK roads and normal road use. But if you are thinking of tracking it, I can get why you'll get there. You do get a little bit of squeaking, but in general, absolutely amazing. 410mm on the front and 390mm on the rear, both 6-pot calipers as well. Insane. Talking of the active aero and other parts on the car as well, this is a pretty awesome feature and interesting thing to note on this car. Apart from obviously, like I say, having lots of functional air ducts and things like that that actively do things and generate downforce, it's also got a really clever little splitter on the front, which is quite extended out. That's lipped and actually does give downforce, but underneath, where you probably can't see, and I'll try to get you a picture on it and I'll show you now, on the underside of this actual bit here, and I can feel it with my fingers now, and I'll try and show you it. There is actually golf ball kind of dents in the bottom, and it's actually that tumbling effect they say that a golf ball has, which actually really aids and improves airflow on the underside. So they've actually got that golf ball effect. I wonder whether that will fizz through to different models on other cars. People will probably copy this, but brilliant. Again, Porsche are always well ahead of the game with clever little weird and wonderful things like that. Just amazing. And aside from that, being a GT car, you'll probably seem that as the years go on, cars will rob parts from other cars, and I do call this car a GT Light, a GT3 Light, should I say. And the reason why I call it a GT3 Light is because it does fundamentally feel very much like that, but things like the front suspension on this, a lot of the front suspension is GT3, which is unreal. And actually, when you think about what you get on this car and how it's been packaged, you understand and break down slowly why you'd imagine it is worth that kind of money. And I'll drive it a bit further to explain that, but it's just state-of-the-art race-like components on this car. It just makes it another step beyond a lot of cars that are anywhere near that price and less, and even sometimes even more. This car is a serious weapon. It's a road-going race car for the road, and I think on the small amounts I've driven it so far, it's an incredible road car. Anyway, enough kerfuffle and babble, let's go and do the test drive now. So yeah, like I say, highline figures are brake horsepower 420 horsepower or 420 PS, 420 Newton meters of torque, and it just feels sublime, guys. I'm going to really push it on. Let's see what these ceramics feel like. Superb. Give it a real good push and see what it's like and see what it's all about. A very neutral 50-50 weight distribution, like a lot of these Porsches have. Very balanced car. Super tight. This one has a cage fitted, a bolt-in cage. It's kind of a club sport type thing. Bolt-in cage in the rear, obviously only 2 seats, but do I care? Absolutely not. This car is a little road going race car for the road, and I have to say it's absolutely sublime. Lovely day for it. It's about 16 degrees, or actually 19 degrees outside. Lovely weather, nice and dry. I think standing water, obviously these Michelin Cup 2 Sport tyres are not going to do very well, but with a little bit of water, once you get, or like not too much standing water with a little bit of damp, these will do absolutely fine, as long as you can get heat in them, which you can, I think. They're a great tyre, but I wouldn't want to take it out when it's hammering it down with rain. But then at the same time, if anyone could make it work, it would definitely be Porsche. And it just makes all the right noises. You can make it quieter if you want. You can turn the auto blip, which is on here as well, off, and the same as the exhaust, quieten down, turn off the valves. But I would have them off. I'd have the auto blip on because it does a really good job. I don't think many people would be able to heel and toe as well as this without that on. It's just so quick and so sharp, so it really keeps the car straight and firm and in check and in line. It's just absolutely superb. The gearbox, yes, I've got a manual 6-speed gearbox, which is absolutely beautiful, and it is one of the best I've had in any car with a manual. Dying breed, and there's not many press cars that I see these days that have a manual, but this does, and it is proper snickety. And I know a lot of people always say that about different cars. This really is snickety. It just really clicks, and it just feels beautiful, lovely and tight. Lovely and firm. There's no wobble through the gates. It's just beautiful. You can probably hear that. It's just gorgeous. Mated to a lovely rear-wheel drive platform with a proper mechanical limit slip differential, which also has active torque biasing as well, so it can kind of, you know, distribute the power to each wheel to keep the car in check. One thing to note is also this car, weirdly, even though it looks quite wide and you see it, it's actually got a very short wheelbase. Now, purposefully, Porsche have done that for a reason. when you get a wider tracked car, the car will tend to be very stable on, you know, a high speed corner, which obviously you'd want, but in low down cornering, it can make the car a little cumbersome and gawky going around the corners, almost understeering its way around. What a narrow short wheelbase car will do is it will allow you to rotate the front end and have lovely communication through the rear as well, which this definitely has, and you can feel it. I prefer that in a car, if I'm honest. I prefer the car rotating, being a little bit naughty. I've got everything turned off on this car at the moment, all traction control. You can basically do a 2-stage traction cutting. ESC will go off, and you've also got the ESC plus traction off. I just turn them all off so you can really enjoy the car and the chassis for what it is, and that is just sublime. It's just near perfection, wonderful, incredible beast of a perfect manual road car. Right, let's do some 0 to 60s. Let's see what we can get. It was sideways, but it was good fun. I don't think it was very good, but I'll give it another go now. My hot tyres are certainly warm. Let's give this 0 to 60 another chance. Let's check what that time was. So before, when we done a really bad one, it was 6.3. Now claim 0 to 60 time on this is 4.4. That was amazing. Even with a little slip, that was a 4.4, which is absolutely superb, and I'm sure I can get a bit better than that, because you'll probably see from some other people's reviews that these are really tall geared, and it is very true. So if you kind of shift a bit early, especially on like 0 to 60, you really will kind of be trying to chase where the power is in the power band. I did that just then, and it's still done a 4.4, which is obviously book factory what they say it will do. So yeah, it's definitely pretty damn amazing, but I'm going to give it one more go and see if I can beat it. Okay, let's give it a go. That was at a 4.3, guys. Absolutely superb. It has, like I say, 420 horsepower, so a little bit more than the outgoing Gen 1 version. And let me tell you, we've said it before, we said it when you had a car that had 400 horsepower with a platform like this, it was near perfect. I have to say the last one was crying out for just that little bit more power, and the gods at Porsche have answered us all, and they've given us, yes, not loads more, but 420 horsepower, but it's still 20 horsepower more, and you can feel it. To me, this feels like it's got more than 20 horsepower. It feels considerably quicker than the Gen 1 version, and I have to say, on tracks it has proven to be the case. Gen 1 Porsche GT4s were ridiculously quick, but you could pitch something like a ridiculously good FK8, which I had done round Anglesey myself, and you could really bully or be there or thereabouts of a Gen 1 Porsche GT4 with a good driver in it and a good driver in the FK8. Civic Type R, pinnacle of front wheel drive hot hatch, less power but less, you know, probably less weight as well, ever so slightly. This is for 1420 kg. Like I say, Gen 1s you used to be able to live with in an FK8, but now there is not any hot hatch on the planet, I'm telling you now, that will live with this. And I've seen it in the times around even short circuits. I've seen the limited edition FK8 lose out to this GT4 around a tight technical short circuit, circa 1 minute 20 lap times, and it's 3 seconds off a limited edition Honda Civic Type R FK8 facelifted edition LE version, lightweight, track-based, crazy thing with Michelin Pilot Cup 2 sports tyres. This car is a monster. It is a monster. This car will probably show a clean pair of heels to most supercars, probably 70% of supercars, which are huge amounts more to buy than this car. It just does everything amazing. It corners flat. The chassis feels race car like and tight. Modulation through brake pedal feel is really nice. On the ceramics, probably not as much as the steel, if I'm honest. I prefer the feeling of the steel, especially on the road. You'd probably prefer maybe the track more biased ceramic, carbon ceramic on the track. But if you're going to do both, probably get the carbon ceramic if you can do away and not worry about the squeals and the squeaks you get. That being said, actually, I've been driving this a lot and I haven't heard it much, only when they're cold and in low down situations. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And you could daily this car, but I would say this is more of a fun play thing and a track toy. But if you want to daily it, no, don't. I'm not saying don't daily it. My God, what a daily this would be. It's just one of those cars that you just drive and you're like, it's just magical. It's just in another realm. It's just near perfection. Special car. And I want one again. Again, like I say, Gen 1 GT4s were unreal. They were nearly as good as motoring would get. And it's a scenario much like the FK8 previous gen before the facelifted one come out. You can't understand how engineers can make something better, because it feels like as a platform would go, front wheel drive versus rear wheel drive, and this being rear wheel drive, you just don't think they can go anywhere with it, or if they can, it will be a minuscule amount. It just feels like a different car. This Gen 2 is hugely better than the Gen 1 version. I'm not even joking. Hugely better. It feels far more tighter, far more controlled, far more track biased, but still comfortable when you turn the active suspension off its hardest setting. I run out of superlatives to describe this car and say things in high regard of this car. So going on a bit more with the fundamentals of this engine, the response, that's just me putting my foot down, is just unbelievable. The moment your little toe touches the accelerator, you get acceleration. And this car screams to 8,000 RPM. It is amazing. The gears are tall, it doesn't matter. You end up only having to go in 1, 2 and 3rd gear on UK roads, because you are doing breakneck speeds even in 3rd. But this car, it just sounds sublime. You don't need to go and buy an exhaust for this car. It sounds amazing out of the factory. And like I say, that auto blip is just sublime. Let's give it a little bit more of a hack around these. Traction control off, and it still just grips and goes. Wow, what a machine, what a car. Let's talk about one of my favourite things, miles per gallon. Nah, it's miles per gallon. But seriously, miles per gallon, if you are worried about it, you will not get much shy of 16 miles per gallon when you are really going for it, which I have been most of the time I've been out in this car. However, if you do drive it really careful and a bit of both, you get 24 to 26 miles per gallon, easy enough. But if you drive it really careful, which I haven't been, but if you drive really careful, which I have kind of done a little test with, reset everything, you can do 30 miles per gallon actually quite easy. So it's not that bad if you drive careful, but you find yourself not doing that. So yeah, it's just... it's just mad. It just holds on to those revs for so long, and it just sings and sounds amazing. You just want to almost balance it off the rev limit or take it to that 8,000 RPM rev limit every time. But it sometimes it takes a long time to get there, but who am I to complain? Like I say, you can be in second gear and pulling from 20 mile an hour to silly speeds, and you stay in one gear. You barely ever have to go out of first and second gear, or at least second. Second is the gear. If anyone knows and drives, have driven one of these quite a bit, second gear is the gear for this car. You're doing quite a bit of speed in at the top of second gear, and you've got third, fourth, fifth and sixth. Crazy. Obviously it's done for fuel consumption. You find yourself not going there because you're just out, when you're in a car like this, you're just enjoying it. You're putting your foot down and you're just the chassis on this thing is just unreal, guys. It is pin sharp on the front, rear communication through everything from your butt to the feeling through the steering input you give it. Is just, everything is just amazing on this car. Absolutely amazing. Like I say, once you get the tyres warm on this car, you can kind of take everything off, and it is quite wild, I have to say. More wild than Gen 1, I have to say. More wild than Gen 1 when you turn everything off, because it's just got that extra power. But at the same time, it's got such a chassis. Like I say, once you get everything warm, it looks after you, and you can just have so much fun on the limit with this car with everything off. And for me, that's how you drive it, but not everyone would. If you want to kind of be real careful, or someone else who's not as confident wants to go out in the car, you can still have loads of fun on the limit, but just you turn those, leave the traction control on, because it will do a sublime job of kind of keeping everything really, really safe and still fun. So yeah, it's just brilliant. So that is the end of my video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I honestly don't know what else I need to say to you guys, because this car has just blown my mind. If you've got anywhere between 70 to 100,000 pounds to spend, go buy one. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe. See you again in the next one. Bye for now.